She already knows. That's the part you're not ready for. Long before she ever says one word about your pension, she has already done the math. At the kitchen table, on the back of a receipt, on the phone with her sister at 11 at night with the fan running so nobody hears. And when a Filipina finds out you lied about your money, she doesn't scream, she doesn't throw your bag out the door. She goes quiet. And then she gets sweeter. And that sweetness, my friend, is the most dangerous sound in the world. Stay with me all the way to the end because I'm going to tell you exactly what that sweetness means, and I'm going to give you the one sentence that can still save you if you already lied. Hi, I'm Marian. I'm a Filipina in my late 20s, and on this channel, I tell foreign men the honest truth about Filipinas that nobody else is going to say to your face. Today, we're talking about what actually happened, step by step, when she finds out you were not telling the truth about your pension. Not the fantasy version, the real one. If you enjoy watching my videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a video in the future. Thanks. Okay, come sit down. This one is going to sting a little, but you'll thank me later. Let's start with why men lie about this in the first place. Because there are two kinds of liars, and only one of them thinks he's a liar. The first kind is the man who makes the number bigger. He's 62, he's got maybe $1,800 a month coming in, and he's chatting with a woman who is warm and beautiful and 20 years younger than the last woman who looked at him twice. And somewhere in that conversation, 1,800 becomes 3,500. He tells himself it's not really a lie, it's rounding, it's future earnings. It's what he would have if the divorce hadn't taken half. He's not being greedy, he's being scared. He thinks the number is the reason she'd stay, so he inflates the reason. The second kind is the man who makes the number smaller. This is the clever one. He's read the forums, he's heard the horror stories. So he shows up in Manila in a plain shirt, tells her he's on a modest pension, that money is tight, that he has to be careful. He's testing her. He wants to see if she loves him poor. He thinks he's protecting himself. Here's the part nobody warns you about. When the truth comes out, both of you get punished the same way because she doesn't judge you on the direction of the lie. She judges you on the fact that you were performing. And the Filipina who realizes she has been watching a performance will start to wonder which other scenes were rehearsed. Now let me tell you how she finds out because I promise you it will not happen the way you imagine. You picture a dramatic moment, documents on a table, a confrontation. No, it's much quieter and much slower than that. She finds out through arithmetic, understands something about how a lot of Filipina women live. Many of us have been running a household budget since we were 15 years old. When you grow up in a family where the money arrives in pieces and has to stretch across school fees, rice, electricity, a lola's medicine, and a cousin's tuition, you develop a kind of instinct. You can look at a man's shoes, his hotel, the way he orders, the way he reacts when the bill comes, and you can build a spreadsheet in your head. It's not calculating in the evil sense. It's survival software. It runs whether we want it to or not. So she notices things. She notices that a man with 3,500 a month doesn't hesitate at a 400 peso taxi. She notices that you got very quiet when your friend joked about your rent back home. She notices that you switched hotels the second week and told her it was because of the noise. She notices when you send money on the second of the month and by the 21st, you're suddenly suggesting you both stay in and cook. And then one day she's scrolling and she sees a photo you didn't think about. Or your sister comments something on your post. Or A man from your same country, in the same city, on the same kind of pension, mentions his monthly amount in a group and the number doesn't match your story at all. Or, and this happens more than you would ever believe, she meets another Filipina who dated a man from your town, and the conversation goes somewhere you would not enjoy. We talk. Let me be very clear about that. The Filipino community in your city, in your province, on your Facebook groups, in the sari-sari store where her aunt sells load, it's a network, and it's faster than any background check you could pay for. You are not anonymous here. You never were. But here's the thing. 99 times out of 100, she doesn't tell you she found out. That's stage 1, the quiet. You'll feel it before you understand it. She'll still be lovely. She'll still cook for you. She'll still call you baby. But something in the temperature drops about 3 degrees. The messages get a little shorter. The good morning message comes at 9 instead of 6. She stops asking about your plans for next year. And that last one is the tell because a Filipina who is planning a life with you talks about next year constantly. When she stops talking about the future, it's because she has quietly taken the future off the table and put it in a drawer while she decides, why doesn't she confront you? Because confrontation is expensive, and because many of us were raised to avoid open conflict at almost any cost. It's not weakness, it's culture. Haya. The idea that direct embarrassment is a wound you don't inflict casually on him or on yourself. So instead of asking you straight, she starts testing. That's stage 2. The tests are so small you'll never see them as tests. She'll say her cousin needs 3,000 pesos for a school project just to watch your face. She'll ask sweetly whether you'd ever consider getting a small place in her province instead of the city. She'll ask what your plan is if your health goes bad at 75. She'll ask, out of nowhere, how much a return flight costs. She's not being nosy. She's collecting data points to see whether the story holds together under weight. And here's what breaks men. The lie is easy to tell once. It is exhausting to maintain across 6 months of small questions. You forget which number you gave her. You say something in March that contradicts something you said in January. And she remembers, my friend, she remembers everything. We are not writing it down, but it is written down. Then comes stage 3, and this is the one that most Western men have absolutely no idea is happening. You get discussed. Somewhere in a kitchen you've never seen, 3 or 4 women are talking about your finances. Her mother, her older sister, the aunt who works abroad and therefore has the most authority on all matters concerning foreigners. Maybe the cousin who studied accounting for 2 years. They're not being cruel. They're doing risk assessment on the man who might take their daughter, their sister, their family's most reliable earner, and change the shape of everyone's life. And the question they're asking is not, does he love her? The question is, kaya ba niya? Can he carry it? Can he actually carry this? Because in a Filipino family, a marriage isn't two people. It's a bridge between two systems. And if that bridge was built on a number you made up, everybody standing on it is at risk, not just her. That's why the lie lands so much heavier here than it would back home. Before you send a single peso to a woman in the Philippines, listen to me. Gary, 58, from Brisbane, Australia, was 2 clicks away from wiring $4,000 to a woman he had never even video called. Her sick mother. The emergency? Sound familiar? Then he read my red flag checklist, and his blood ran cold. She'd hit every single warning sign. Gary didn't lose a cent, And 6 months later, using what I teach, he met Jenny. Real, loving, down to earth, and today they're building a life together. Here's the truth: the warmth in the Philippines is real, but so are the scams. I'm Marian, a Filipina, and in my Honest Filipina Dating Playbook, I show you how to tell the difference and how to meet Filipina women the right way. Protect yourself and find the real one. Get it now in the description or in the pinned comment. In your country, exaggerating your pension is embarrassing. Here, it's structural. Real quick before I get into the rest, if Marian is making sense to you so far, do me one small favor and tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. It really helps me keep making these videos just for you, and it makes sure you never miss the next one. Okay, come closer, because this next part is the one most men get completely wrong. Stage 4: the verdict. And there are three doors she can walk through, and only one of them looks like what you expect. Door 1 is the exit, and it's rarely loud. She'll get busy. Work got hectic. Her mother is sick. She's helping her sister with the baby. The replies stretch from minutes to hours to a day. And then one afternoon, there's a message that is polite and kind and final, and it doesn't mention money at all. It'll say something like, I think we want different things. And you will spend 3 weeks trying to figure out what you did, and it wasn't the money. It was that she asked you a simple question and you gave her a manufactured answer, and she decided she couldn't build a life on a foundation she can't measure. Door 2 is the recalculation. She stays she stays as a different woman than the one you had. This is where the affection stops being spontaneous and starts being budgeted. She's still warm, but the warmth has a limit on it now. She stops planning around you. She keeps her job when she was going to leave it. She keeps her own place. She stops introducing you to new people in her family. She's not punishing you. She's insulating herself. And the tragedy is that most men prefer this door because from the outside it looks like nothing happened. Door 3, and this is the one I want you to be genuinely afraid of, is the mask. This is the sweetness I mentioned at the start. She finds out you lied and she gets nicer, softer, more attentive. Suddenly, she's asking about your day in detail. She's affectionate in a way she wasn't before. Everything is po and opo and baby, and let me get that for you. And you think, wow, things are going great. My friend, things are not going great. That sweetness means she has stopped treating you as a partner and started treating you as a transaction. Partners argue. Partners nag you about your health, complain when you're late, get irritated at your snoring. That friction is love. It's the sound of somebody who thinks she has to live with you for the next 20 years and is therefore invested in adjusting you. When the friction disappears and it's replaced by pure pleasantness, it's because she's no longer planning to live with you for 20 years. She's managing the time that's left. You've been moved from the husband column to the client column, and the service is excellent. Not every woman does this. Please understand, most don't. But when it happens, it's because the man showed her, with the lie, that this was a transaction from the start. He priced himself. She just accepted the price. Now let me talk about the older, mature Filipina, because this is where my channel lives and this is where the whole thing changes shape. If you're dealing with a woman who is 38, 45, 52, a woman who has raised children, who has worked, who maybe already had a husband who disappointed her in ways she will only tell you about after 2 years, Her reaction to the pension lie is completely different from a 24-year-old's. The younger one might be hurt, might feel foolish, might cry to her friends. The mature one, she's not hurt. She's disappointed. And disappointment is much worse because it's calm. Here's why. A woman at 48 is not shopping for a fantasy. She has already had the great romance, and she has already had the man who promised and didn't deliver. What she is looking for now is something much less exciting and much harder to fake. She wants to know if she can rest. That's it, that's the whole thing. She wants to know if there is finally a man where she can put down the weight she's been carrying since she was 19 and not have to pick it up again at 60. And a lie about your pension tells her in one clean stroke that she cannot put the weight down with you. Because if you lied about that, you lie about the medical bill. You lie about the other woman. You lie about the will. She's not extrapolating unfairly. She's pattern matching against a life that already taught her this lesson once. That's why the mature Filipina rarely gives you door 3. She's too old for games and too tired for revenge. She just takes door 1, thanks you for your time, and goes back to her life. And she will be genuinely gracious about it, which somehow makes it worse. Now, let's talk about the reverse lie because I promised I would, and because I see this constantly. The man who pretends to be poorer than he is, to test her, he thinks he's being smart. Let me tell you what actually happens. For 6 months, she watches him count coins. She adjusts her expectations. She turns down a trip she wanted because she doesn't want to burden him. She quietly stops mentioning that her mother needs a small procedure because she doesn't want him to feel bad about not being able to help. She protects him. Do you understand? She spends half a year protecting his feelings about a poverty that doesn't exist. And then one day she finds out there's a house, there's an investment account, there's a whole other life, and here's her thought, and it is devastating, and it is completely fair. He watched me choose him while I thought he had nothing, and instead of feeling loved, he felt clever. You didn't test her honesty. You tested her, and she passed, and you didn't notice because you were too busy congratulating yourself on the trap. A woman never forgets being trapped. Even a trap she walked out of clean. So, what was she actually calculating back at the beginning when she asked about your pension in the first place? Let me defend her for a second because you need to hear it. She was not asking how much she can extract. She was asking whether the arithmetic of your shared life works. Because if you come here or she goes there, someone has to know how the numbers land. Can you afford visits home twice a year or once every 2 years? If she leaves her job for you and it doesn't work out at year 4, what happens to her? Can you handle a hospital bill in a country where there's no free hospital? Should her family stop expecting help from her or keep expecting it? Those are not greedy questions. Those are the questions of a woman who has never had the luxury of being financially casual for a single day of her life. You lied because you thought the number was the price of admission. She asked because the number is the blueprint. Those are not the same thing, and the gap between them is where most of these relationships die. Which brings me to the man watching this who has already lied, because I know you're there. Here's what to do, and here's what not to do. Do not wait for her to find out. The damage is not linear. A lie confessed in month 2 is a mistake. The same lie discovered in month 14 after she has quit her job and told her whole barangay about you is a betrayal. Same words, completely different crime, and the only variable is time. Do not confess in a long emotional message at 2 in the morning. That makes it about your guilt and forces her to comfort you, and she will notice she's being asked to comfort you about your lie. Do not lead with an explanation. Every explanation sounds like a second lie in a costume. Here is the sentence I promised you. Say it plainly, in person if you can, and then stop talking. I told you my pension was bigger than it is. The real number is this. I said it because I was afraid you wouldn't choose me at the real number, and that was unfair to you. Here's what I can actually do, and I want you to decide with the truth in front of you. That's it. The number, the reason, the apology to her, not to yourself, and then you hand her the decision. And then you shut up and you let her sit in it, even if she goes silent for 3 days, because she has to run the whole calculation again from scratch, and this time you don't get to watch. Will it work? Sometimes. And here's the strange part that took me years to understand. A lot of women will stay for a smaller number than the one you invented. I've seen a man confess that he was on 1,200 a month instead of 3,000. And she said, okay, so we'll live in the province instead of the city. And that was the end of the conversation. Because 1,200 honest dollars is a plan. 3,000 fake ones are a trap with a nice view. The woman who stays after a confession like that stays for a very specific reason. Not because she forgave the lie, because you gave her back the ability to plan. And planning for Filipina is a form of love that most Western men never even learn to recognize. So, the sweetness, that's the payoff I owed you. If you lied and she got kinder instead of angrier, if the friction went out of your relationship and everything got smooth and pleasant, that's not peace. That's her being professional. Go back and be honest before that becomes permanent. Because a woman can be beautifully polite to a man for years and never once let him near her actual life. And the real lesson, the one I want you to carry out of here, is this. She was never grading your number. She was grading whether the number was real. You could have shown up with the smallest pension in the room in full honesty and been the most attractive man she'd met all year, because honest is rare and rich is not. Before you go, if you're serious about finding real love in the Philippines, I've put everything I know into one honest guide: how to make any Filipina want you. The mindset, where to meet genuine women, the green flags, the red flags, all of it. It's the playbook I wish every good man had before he came here. Grab your ebook in the description or in the pinned comment, and I'll see you there.